Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict, is shaping up to be a huge patch. 0.3 could effectively change everything we've known so far about Path of Exile 2 right now, not only from class balance changes, but also in the way that trade is being functioned. At the very moment in time, GGG is implementing a asynchronous trade option, similar to how the auction house worked in World of Warcraft, but with some slight caveats. You can now host your items onto the trade website and then of course not need to be in your hideout, wasting a portal, going back, having a really bad trade experience with another player who doesn't know what kind of currencies they had, or just RMTing altogether, and then giving you the wrong trade or the wrong item and getting scammed overall. This should in fact be something that ends all that issue, right? Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But in addition to all of that, though, it turns out that PoE has also tweeted this out the other day as well, and it's going to be even bigger than what we expected. The launch of Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict, will include the long-awaited asynchronous trade system, which will also include a completely in-game market. We've answered some frequently asked questions about how this new system will work. Link below in the description. This, I think, is going to be incredibly huge, and I really do like to see that. The fact that I've been able to have in-game marketplaces in so many other MMOs and other online action games, besides having to go through an Alt-Tab, open up another window, go to the browser, Alt-Tab back. What affix did I really need? What was I really looking for? How do I go back and forth? And having it all in-game is just a better quality of life overall, removing those really stupid friction points that were there for, in my opinion, no particular reason, just making the experience better overall for the actual player. And this is going to be a nice thing. But the problem that I'm seeing isn't with the in-game market. That's not my issue at all. My big problem right now, though, is going to be the style and way you work with asynchronous trade and how it actually impacts you as a player. And I think this is something people are kind of just glossing over. You see, one of the big things in PoE that's been happening for quite some time, even in PoE 1, is getting scammed in actual trade, whether it's softcore or even hardcore as well, getting the wrong item, having the wrong currency, needing to barter for everything. These things can be a major impact. Whenever you see an item being listed on the trade website and all you have to do is start messaging everybody that you see, having to whisper 40 different people to finally get one person to respond to get the item that you were trying to get in the first place, but having those tiers of affixes always be 1 or 2 tiers below what you actually wanted is never a good time at all. Right now, the trade system is in fact effectively broken, and that's basically because you are literally wasting more money leaving your map to go finish the trade, to go back into the map and lose a portal, than you would simply just having it listed directly and having an auction house there. In fact, speaking of auction houses, and the reason why I bring that up is because World of Warcraft has had this for an incredibly long time. List your item, list it for the amount of gold you want, you buy that item directly, and it goes into your mailbox. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But the thing is, my biggest problem with all of this isn't the fact that scammers are going to have to find new ways of trying to scam you, which they effectively will, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. It's the fact that you have to go into the actual hideout of that player to then get those items out of the merchant tab. Here's what I mean. Here is the patch note for the updated asynchronous trade for PoE 2, which honestly is really great for the in-game market. Now, when you scroll down here, it'll say this: when will Merchants tab be available in the actual store? A Merchant tab will be available for purchase in Path of Exile 2 shop once the Third Edict releases this Friday. You will also have the option to convert premium stash tabs purchased prior to 0.3, and premium stash tabs purchased after 0.3 release cannot be converted. And here's where things, in my opinion, get incredibly sticky about the asynchronous trade. Take a look. If multiple players try to buy the same item at the same time, who gets it? The first player to complete the trade will get the item. And this is kind of where I have a pretty big problem. You see, the way asynchronous trade is going to be working on the day of release of 0.3 is you go through into the either in-game marketplace or the actual website. You click the item that you want and you are teleported to that player's hideout. In that player's hideout, you are then trying to find their actual stash and then going to their merchant tab of the item that you're trying to look for, which should effectively be highlighted like it normally is when you get a whisper for a trade. Hopefully it's highlighted in purple or some other really good bright color that really just attracts you to where you need to go and find the item. The thing is, though, like Jonathan said here in this clip of the video, that you can also browse other items that are available inside that merchant tab as well.
Once a desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item. And while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered.
And that part right there is what's really going to concern me. If you haven't heard of Sergog, he made a really great video talking about the actual scams that could be happening in this new kind of patch. And this is the really concerning part. If you're going through and just buying things willy-nilly and not paying attention, yeah, totally skill issue, you could in fact get scammed, especially if the actual player is going around and loading up specific types of bases of items, and they're pricing them all consistently at the exact same price of what you're normally looking for. You won't pay attention too often, and you'll start clicking through whatever you'd like and buying everything out in that tab, not realizing you may have actually accidentally bought a bunch of corrupted items for a couple of divines if they were in your inventory or your bank. And I think that's going to be the real factor in all of this. Not only are those kinds of scams going to be pertinent, but at the same time, another big concern that I have is what if multiple players on that trade website click that link for that item and they all go to the actual stash tab itself. So you may have 5, 10, 15, 20 people walking around your actual hideout, not either trying to find your stash tab, but also possibly cleaning out your actual merchant tab of items, even though they were already listed on the website. This could be a huge factor, and in my opinion, it could also be a possibility of having direct control over the trade market. This also could cause a bigger concern as well, as if you are just a simple casual player looking for a specific type of item that could be build defining for you or give you an upgrade. As you go to the hideout, the person before you there sees a potential item for you too, buys it off of the actual merchant tab before you get to it, and then at the same time could relist that item for a higher price. A savvier player could also see that item was priced incorrectly and then make a massive influx of currency by pricing it in a higher space or where it should be priced in the first place. This could backfire so many ways and could cause so many more issues from the player base simply by having the ability to go into that person's hideout and buy all the other types of items in that merchant tab. In my personal opinion, I think the best course of action for all of this would be you can only buy the item that you clicked on inside of that filter and purchase that item specifically for that actual setup. This would avoid other players either buying out complete stashes of tabs or at the same time just trying to scam people overall in general. And besides those few types of scams that you could effectively see happening because of this asynchronous trade, there could also be other factors as well, some more funny than others. Darth Microtransaction had a really funny idea to pretty much make a basic trap for someone's stash if they go into that person's hideout, trying to go through and have play whack-a-mole to get to that stash in the first place to trap them directly. Now that could be kind of fun for the first couple of times, but it could also be incredibly frustrating. The thing is though, this could also backfire because of these specific things. These traps, these hideout layouts could also be a major issue as well, and people just simply sitting there and trolling other people, which of course the PoE community loves to do all the time, could also be a major issue overall. Now here's the thing, even though there are quite a few concerns that I have, like the servers being stable, the amount of people in your hideout all at once, and all the trolling and scamming that could still be happening in the actual space, I'm still somewhat tepidly excited for this kind of thing. It's a really great way of adding another quality of life feature to the game, but I feel like a lot of what's been happening with PoE 2 is it's been being implemented in a half-baked measure or not fully thought out all the way. My guess is through all of this, you're going to be seeing asynchronous trade being taken down for a couple of days, especially after the day one patch when everybody's trying to go around and start trading, or you may even see quite a few exploits happening inside asynchronous trade as well, as people are then having a harder time or abusing an exploit that they haven't caught of or thought of before. And if it's one thing the PoE community is very good at, it's finding an exploit, trust me. But in my personal opinion, even with all this kind of stuff happening, the way I think it should occur is just being done directly through Ange, and similar to what we had in World of Warcraft. You would go to Ange in your hideout, go to the in-game trade tab, or even at the same time, the website itself. You click on the item that you want, Ange would then retrieve that item for you already without you having to travel to someone else's hideout, and then you would have that item to currency exchange done directly. And Ange would go back and give the currency to the other player in their hideout when they have money listed over, just like the currency exchange works right now. You don't have to go to someone else's hideout to get that currency. Why do I have to go to someone else's hideout to get that item as well? I feel like that would alleviate a lot of the actual scams that I feel could be happening in this space, or people buying up a lot of items and then relisting them for a higher price and inflating the market overall. I feel like this could be a really big win, but also a really big issue. My guess is, like I said before, you may see some concerns or some hot fix patches happening due to specific exploits around asynchronous trade, and even then people getting scammed on the website and being very angry on the PoE2 Reddit. But you know what? That's just my guess on the whole thing. We're going to find out Friday what happens. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Do you have the same kind of concerns that I do? Do you not? Do you feel like GGG is going to do everything just fine? And if anything, let me know what you guys think about this as well. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PoE news, ARPG hot takes, and things about Diablo, Last Epoch, and etc., subscribe. We're on our way to 4,000 subs. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. With all that being said, though, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time.